after having a tinker with the robots to see what they can do, and making sure the children understand here are the limitations and the opportunities with the robots, we then spent time planning first in terms of what our goals are with the robots. What is it we want them to do?
So we started planning a number of lessons, like a sequence of lessons, to help children's computing skills, but also their literacy skills as well.
So they're already used to using the Scratch interface, so they took to it really quickly, and they understood how to control the Picoh, because there's just an extra section basically at the bottom of the Scratch blocks where they're specific to the Picoh, and they just really enjoyed exploring all the different things they could make it do.
In those initial stages, we did just let the children tinker with the Picohs, and that's kind of where the idea of them talking to one another came from, because they wanted them to be able to communicate with each other, and it wasn't just about that one piece of kit.
What we noticed was it was the voice recognition and the idea that the robots could speak back, sort of text-to-speech was available in there as part of the code that you could add in addition to Scratch as an extension. So their excitement of that was that they'd look around and say, oh, it's just like Siri, or it's just like, okay, Google, we can use this in this way. And we saw that opportunity in how they saw the robot, and we thought we'd work on that and sort of figured out a project within that context where we could really focus on a planned out project with the robots of clear end goals in terms of creating a personal assistant from this Picoh, trying to replicate the kind of algorithms that go into something like Siri or another voice recognition software and personal assistant, and using that in order to teach variables and to teach if-else functions and algorithms in there, as well as giving separate functions in their programs in order to make it work, which was really exciting because a lot of that came from the children. And we saw that opportunity sort of came up quite organically.
Had a project where we were getting the Picohs to be like quiz masters, where they would ask a times table question, and then depending on what the person wrote as the answer, if they got it right, the Picoh would react in one way, and if they got it wrong, it would react in another way. For example, it might turn a different colour, or it might shake its head or nod its head if they get it right. And that just, the students understood. They understood that if a certain condition was met, one piece of code would happen, and if it wasn't, the other piece of code would happen. And now they understand that computing principle.
It seems to be quite relevant today. Children have that innate understanding of, oh, there's these things we can talk to.
What we're really interested in and making sure they would get engaged and can link why programming is so important in order to create something they use every day or find so interesting and so useful in their life every day, and really break that down and decompose the steps that go into that.
It also linked really interestingly to some ideas of machine learning, which is something that tangentially was quite an interesting topic to start thinking about.